Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Um, I just wanted to do a video to talk about Halo and her passing and, what that all looked like. Trying to answer some questions before they get asked, or they're probably already being asked. This is going to be a long video. I am not going to edit this, mostly because, I know a lot of people are out there wondering what's going on, so I want to get this up sooner than later. And honestly, I don't think I could review this footage. I'm not going to be including any footage of the kitten. It's just my ugly mug. So enjoy that. But yeah, this was. God, I don't even know where to start. In 8 years of fostering over 190 kittens, we've actually been fairly lucky and had minimal losses. In the rescue world, it goes without saying that days like these are going to happen. And we've seen in the last 2 years in the LA rescue community that those days are more frequent for more people. There has been just a lot of tragedy in the cat rescue world lately. Um, and anyway, so to start with, when Halo and Harper came to us, we already knew there were some issues with those kittens. They had eye infections before they came to us, and that was treated and dealt with, though it did result in their eyes being opened earlier than naturally, which may in itself have presented long-term issues related to that, but that is unrelated to what we're really talking about here. When the kittens first got to us, they had, and this is both of them, very dehydrated. They were underweight, and their poop, and this is not an exaggeration, this is not me trying to be funny, it was the worst thing we've ever smelled in our entirety of fostering. It was so bad. It had like an acrid, sort of just powerful smell. And it was every time we pottied them, which is also not normal. Like they were, pooping way too much, and it was just god awful. So early on, we started to, think they shared a lot of similarities with our past foster, Marigold, who passed last year, and was undiagnosed. Her issue was never really figured out. And she'd been looked at by different people many different times. And it just goes to show you that, kittens be unpredictable, yo. And the sad truth is that until just the last 5 years, kind of a tangent here, cat health in general has gone greatly overlooked in lieu of dog health. Dogs were the number one pet, and so there was a lot more research being done. And it's really only in the past 5 years that cat health has become more prominent, and they're starting to catch up on a lot of things, and a lot of things that we in the rescue community, were aware of. The treatment was, this is pretty close to a dog thing, so you're going to get this, But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So early on, we started treating both kittens for their stinky poop and their dehydration and all that kind of stuff. And we got this stuff called Enzyme Miracle that we just mixed in like a little pinch into each bottle of food. And they seemed to be doing better. They seemed to be getting better. They were gaining weight. Halo is honestly the bigger of the two kittens. though she was kind of the worse eater of the two, ironically. Like, Harper has always been easier to feed. Halo would eat more. She just struggled with it. She pushed it away. She just had issues with the bottle. And I was really, really sure that when she got to the point where she could wean and eat wet food, she'd probably do better. But that's like still a week away from at this point. It wasn't something that was going to happen anytime soon. So that's where it was. You know, she'd been putting on weight. She was looking pretty good. She had energy. She was a happy cat. She was talkative. She did her things. Up until yesterday, there were no real signs. Her poop got less frequent, less pungent. It still wasn't as firm as we would have liked. The color was still a little weird, yellowy, greeny kind of stuff. I think Harper's is a lot better comparatively. So, you know, we still had concerns, but for the most part, she looked like she was doing a lot better. And then yesterday happened. And so in the morning, Amanda fed her. There was no issues there in the early morning. And then I did like a mid-morning feeding, and she didn't do great. She ate a little bit. For the most part, she pushed the bottle away and did not do great. But she did eat a little bit, probably 4 or 5 grams. It's not like I weighed her before the session, so it's really an estimation, but a little bit. And then by the next feeding, she was starting to seem to sleep a lot, and she did not eat, to my knowledge, at that next feeding. That was Amanda's feeding. And we started to become a lot more concerned. By the evening, things seemed to get a lot more dire. She was definitely lethargic. She, around 8 o'clock, started making a noise that was reminiscent of aspirating, or almost like a puking hiccup. Like, I don't know how to explain it better than that. And her gums, and this is the telltale sign of sort of fading kitten, were turned pale. Like, they really lost all color and got pale. So Amanda started to apply Caro syrup every 3 to 5 minutes. We had a direct heat source for her, and she was trying to rub her to circulate blood and stuff like that. All the while trying to text a variety of people at Kitten Rescue. We had at one point run out and got meds, Amoxi, for her. So that as well had happened between those 2 feedings. So we got Amoxi for her, gave her the meds. And Amanda was trying to text with people at Kitten Rescue, but because it was the evening already, we weren't getting any responses. Not until about 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30. And so she finally got contact with someone, because we don't have any equipment with us anymore. We lost all of our, like tube feeding, and we don't have any sub-Q fluid kind of stuff at our apartment, or previously we wouldn't have had that anyway. So Amanda grabbed her and drove to the med holder to get subcutaneous fluids done. And by the time she got home, the kitten had passed. So, like, we did everything we could within our power to give that kitten a fighting chance. And, it might not have mattered if we had done that ever, if we had gone on sooner. Like, she definitely had some kind of congenital or genetic issue, some kind of organ struggling to function since the beginning. And really, we just gave her an extension on life in the first place, is most likely the truth of the matter. Like, even if we had the funds and the go ahead to get her to an emergency vet of some kind, which we didn't and we couldn't, there's probably no chance they could have saved her either. So, that's what it is. And that's part of the sad truth of this, like, is a vet probably couldn't have done anything, but we won't know that, right? Like, we took Marigold to be checked out multiple times, and she could not be diagnosed. And the comparisons between Halo and Marigold most likely would have resulted, no matter what we did, in the same eventual ending. We would have just ended up paying a lot of money for that, which we don't. Generally, with these kind of things, everything has to be approved through the rescue. They have their own vets that we would go to. So if we wanted to do something like an emergency vet, we would have had to foot the bill for that. And, we don't have the $2,000 to $5,000 that it most likely would have taken to do anything there. And that's a sad truth. But the bigger truth is that even if we did, I do not believe anything could have saved that kitten. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else, but like, yeah, all of the fundraising we've done has basically gone to just straight out the supplies that we do already have. We don't really have a big savings fund. We've been trying this year to actually create an angel fund for bigger events like that, but we've barely raised $400, and we've mostly spent it already on kitten milk replacement and wet food and tissues, honestly. And that's how much it costs to foster kittens. So anyway, obviously it's very emotional for all of us, and there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of just, you kick yourself, right? You're like, oh, I should have seen all of these other signs. There must have been this other thing. And what if we had done something 20 days ago? So, and she looked like she was getting better up until things didn't. Up until, midday yesterday, she looked like she was honestly the healthier of the two kittens. Not that I want to concern anyone with Harper. Harper seems fine, lonely, obviously. We gave her a stuffy to hang out with. We'll be trying to take her out of the enclosure more often to play with her. And thankfully the kids have spring break next week, so they'll be doing plenty of that. She hasn't been tested yet, so she can't hang out with the house cats. And even if we were to get another solo cat, there would still be like a 10 to 14 day isolation period before we could even combine the two of them. So unfortunately, Harper is going to be alone until she's not. So, I want to thank you all for your support, your understanding. I know that for a lot of you, this is the first litter of our kittens you've seen, and what what a crappy experience. You know, I hate it. Like, there's nothing good about this. Like, but, you know, I just, I don't have anything else to say. If there's questions, leave them in the comments. I will try to address them when I can. For those of you who join us on Saturdays for chats, there's a very good chance we will not be doing a chat tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know if, Amanda will decide that she actually wants to specifically to talk about things. This is basically my therapy, my catharsis, just getting this out to all of you. It's rescue. There's hard days. And again, we've actually been pretty blessed. We've had very few of these days. We know a lot of fosters who have had it a lot worse. And it's weird because we do take on kittens, and kittens are hard. They're super cute, they're super fun, but kittens do not have an immune system developed at this point. They are tricky, and without a mom, it's just it's probably more than 10 times, but it's 10 times harder. It's probably more. Moms make it so much easier. It's just better. But we do our part. People find kittens that don't have a mom in the wild, and they bring them to the shelters. And if they'd only stayed around for 6 hours to see that mom's actually there, shit like this wouldn't happen. Sorry, now I'm just venting. That's a different video. I think the real thing I want to say here is, look, I don't want people to see this and think, oh, that sucks. I thought about fostering kittens and I don't want to do that. I want you to look at this and think there's just more reason for more people to be fostering, And what we do, we focus on kittens so that somebody else can focus on fostering older cats. Because I'll tell you, if these cats had been at the shelter, they would not have made it 2 days. We gave them several weeks. So, go foster. Yeah. Okay, that's all.